I'm going to give you the quick rundown on our pool and yard project started 8 months ago by Continental Pool Builders in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to be referencing some things that I have in emails and texts, and everything is documented. So I'm not going to say anything that's not true, and if anybody challenges it, I can back it up with proof. So do your best. All right, so we signed our contract in September of 2024. Today is August 1st, 2025. We put our deposit, 15%, down in October, and they started digging the day after Thanksgiving in November. So from the day that they've started digging, it's been 8 months. This is a company that advertises all over the place, 60 days, your family will be swimming in 60 days. It took us forever going back and forth before digging even started. We couldn't get drawings that were correct, had the correct materials, the correct dimensions. They said, from the beginning, oh, this is the simplest pool, simplest yard ever. It's going to be a piece of cake. And here we are. We are now $55,000 in. That's how much we have paid Continental Pools. And 8 months later, we haven't seen them we saw them for a few days, but outside of that, it's been like 3.5 months. No communication. We've got the Arizona ROC, which is the Registrar of Contractors, which is the government office that oversees this kind of stuff to keep customers from getting screwed by contractors. They came out once. We had a meeting with Nick Soldo, the owner of Continental Pools, and an investigator from the ROC and myself. And ROC took pictures, took notes, went away. We requested a schedule, took forever to get a schedule. They didn't meet the schedule. ROC came back for another meeting in 5 weeks, I think it was, 5 or 6 weeks, and said, there's really not much different here, and there's a lot left to do. So he issued Continental Pools a written directive, which says that this pool project, yard, everything, 100% has to be complete by August 14th. That is 2 weeks from today. Since then, we haven't seen him, haven't heard from him. Now, I'm doing what I can to put reviews where I can, go on, social media, pool construction groups, and share the experience that we've had, because we're, pissed about it, and obviously we don't want other people to have the same issue. As it turns out, we personally know of other people who started in January, and their pool and yard are in the same state, and in the same state, I mean, obviously Arizona, the same condition, and they have had the exact same issues that we have with communication, with quality, with just, not showing up for weeks at a time, broken promises of, they set dates that we'll have it done by this date, that date passes, oh, we'll have it done by this date, that date passes. So we are not the only ones. So here's what happened. They came in, we wanted us concrete pavers. That was going to be the whole deck, concrete pavers. They screwed around, kept messing up the materials. Eventually said, well, we can't get the concrete pavers, so you should use these tiles. We were going to do 12 by 12 concrete pavers. So they sold us on these 24 by 24 porcelain tiles, which are 2 centimeters thick, which is about 3/4 of an inch. Okay. They said, oh yeah, they won't get as hot, whatever. Fine. So they laid all these things down. All this was done. This was done. From a distance, it looked great. And as we would walk out our door, granted that none of the turf was done, the electrical and everything wasn't done, but we would walk out our door and be, with our first step on this tile would go thump because it had a big hollow spot under it. And then as we're walking around, the tiles are moving and tilting and teetering, and the grout in between them is popping up. And so that was thing one. Then I grabbed my hose, I ran hose water out here, and they didn't put a single drain in this whole plan. So up here, water ran away from the house. Slightly, but it ran away. Then it puddled a big pool right here. And then over here, and again, I have pictures and video of this. We actually laid the hose on the ground, shot it that direction. All the water went whoosh, and puddled right there against the house and ended up running down and making a muddy mess. And that's where all the water went, straight into the house. And it was just all right here. So that was thing number two. So I actually made a video, sent it to him, said, it was very positive. This is great. We're happy with the way it's going. We have some concerns. These tiles are moving and, the water's puddling. So they came out here and, again, they changed the, what do you call him? The project manager or the field supervisor from one guy, then to another guy, then back to another guy, and then back to the owner. So four times we've had management changes. And they never come out here to check the work that the guys are doing. They don't use their own employees, of course, just like a lot of other contractors. They just find the cheapest day laborers they can, and they refer to them as, highly skilled masons, whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But different people show up, one day, then nobody will show up for a week, and then some strange guy will walk into our yard. We don't know who he is. They don't tell us. They don't come out and look at what the guys have done. So when they had this whole thing done, and I send them that video saying, these tiles are teetering and water's piling up, we had a meeting over here. And we said, it looks good, but this is not what you guys sold us. This is not, we don't want to be walking on this thing and have it moving and having water flowing into our brand new house. This is a brand new house. This house is less than a year old. And we don't want to be using this pool for the next 20 years and just upset every time we get in it because we're not happy with it. This is not what you guys sold us on. You guys sold us on, our dream pool, and it's going to be super simple and clean and everything's going to be great. So they took a couple of weeks and came up with the solution that they would pull all the tile up, because what they had done was they laid like maybe a half inch of sand on top of this existing concrete, and then out here on some dirt and out here, and they put these 2 centimeter tiles on top of this sand. No AB, no aggregate, no, nothing that was compacted, just sand. And not like the, silica sand, not like the super fine construction sand, but just like play sand. I've got videos and pictures of that too. And you can't just plop 2 centimeter tiles down on sand. With thicker cement concrete pavers, you can, because they're much thicker and they kind of interlock with each other. So they said, this is our solution. We're going to pull all these tiles up, and we're going to pull all the sand up. We're going to pour everything concrete, and then we're going to thin set these things down. So they won't move. They'll be perfect. We'll grout everything. It'll be great. Cool. All right. So they started doing that. And another side note, they never gave us a layout of how the tiles were going to go. So there's multiple ways that you can do things. Some of them are subjective. One person could say this is right. Another person could say, no, this is better. And some are just objective. Like, for instance, you wouldn't just start with a 24 by 24 here, run. And then when you get to the end, you cut off whatever's left. And then you plop another tile here, and you go this way, till you get to something, and you cut another. I literally have pictures where there's a 1-inch slice of tile, and the two grout lines on the side of it look like pizza slices because they're not even straight. But I mean, it was just terrible. They had a whole row here that they cut like 6 inches out of because there was no forethought as far as what the layout was going to be and how it was going to land, when it came to the corners. So we weren't crazy with that skinny row and everything, but it didn't matter because after they said, okay, we are making the decision, Continental made the decision, we're going to pull all these up because we want this to be what you want. Well, God bless them. That's cool. Good. Wasn't too long before they started saying, oh, well, you're changing the materials and you keep changing the layout and you want this and you want that, saying that we made all these changes. We made one change in this entire job. I have it documented right in that folder. And before ground was ever broken, we had originally designed this 3 feet, 5 feet, 3 feet. I texted Nick before they ever broke the ground. I said, hey, question, would it be a huge pain in the butt to change this from 3 to 3.5, 5, 3.5? And he said, no, that's absolutely no problem. We haven't even started digging yet. If they had started digging, it would be a bigger problem, whatever. Again, I've got all this right there. But that was another thing. Oh, you made changes, you changed the depth, you changed the lights, because they put in the wrong number of lights in the wrong places. Anyway, where were we? So they had all this up. They poured the concrete. We got a tertiary street right on the other side of the wall here. Did they bring in a truck and drop the chute down and, do a monolithic pour with some expansion joints or pour big sections? No. They had several different skilled masons come in and mix all of this and all of this and all of this and this and that out of a wheelbarrow. So they would pour, a couple of wheelbarrows one day, miss a couple of days, come back, pour another couple of wheelbarrows full. So you got different sections, you got cracks in between them, different colors, so obviously there's no consistency, whatever. They start laying the stuff back down. Okay. So it's looking good. We're getting excited. Okay, it's starting to look like a thing again. They start laying out this, we can walk on it, it looks good. And in the middle of the day, Keith, who was the project manager, field supervisor at that particular moment, called me up and said, hey, I got some news. It's not going to make you happy. I said, well, what is it? He said, well, since we pulled those up and now we're putting them back down, we went to get some more tile and the die lots don't match. So we are going to pull up all of the tile that we've put down again after they started mortaring it, then setting it, so that we don't have two different color tiles on the job. Cool. I appreciate that you're not just going to, keep trudging along and at some point switch colors to a different die lot. He said, so it's going to put us behind a little bit. All right, it is what it is. I appreciate at least you not just, taking the quick, easy route that we're going to have problems with later. Problem with that is, that's another one of these things that now Nick is saying, oh, you made us pull this up again and do all this stuff. They're saying, we had it done and you made us pull it up, and then you didn't like the layout and you made us pull it up. So again, the only change we made was the depth. Everything else that changed was because of lack of planning on their part. So they pulled all these tiles up again, which is why there's no tile on here, but they're still thin set. And you can tell, and I don't want to, be nitpicky, but I've done a fair amount of tile jobs. You take your notch trowel, you do an area this way, you butter the back of the tile, you put it down, you squish it into place, whatever you got to do, tap it with a hand, with a mallet, whatever. I know the faster way is to grab a notch trowel and go and stick. The problem is that when you use a notch trowel in one direction and you butter that tile in the same direction, then when you put it down, the air has a place to go. When you just do this random whatever, the air doesn't have any place to go. It gets trapped in there. So that's why you get air pockets. That's why you get poor adhesion. That's why you get the hollow sound when you're walking on tiles. Also, that's how they were so easy just to pop up again. So from that time, and I don't even remember what date that is. It's in there. I don't remember offhand. So they pulled this all up so that they could do it all again with the same dialogue. Okay, cool. So they start over here. They come down. They do a row. They do a row. They do a row. And I'm watching on this blink camera right here. I'm watching what they're doing from work. Just checking in on them periodically. They get down here, and it's a different layout than it is now. So again, I got pictures of it, but they get down here, and so the last tile that they just started in that corner ended up kind of like this, right? So then they took the next tile and they put it like this. So now there's like a 3-inch jog right here for no reason. They could have done an L cut, and here's the 2-inch linear drain. So when they got down here, they're going to have to do that cut anyway. So now you've got like this weird jog, and it was just absolutely stupid. So I just texted Keith, I think it was still at that time, and said, "Hey, this isn't going to work. We need to get together and come up with a layout." And so we had a meeting. In that meeting, we proposed that since they never came up with a layout of the tile, and also every time the tile went down, it was based on the judgment of whoever they had doing the job that day, we said we will draw up the tile layout, and we will submit it to you. If you see any problems, you think it's not realistic, give us feedback, whatever. And Keith actually said, "I think that's a great idea, because it lets them off the hook. If we design it, then they do what we say. Then if we don't like it, they're off the hook. We designed it. They did what we said." Cool, right? Everybody's happy. So weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks go by. Much drama ensues. We're, I think, at this point, got the ROC involved. They came out for the first meeting, and I was telling them all this whole story. And the ROC guy said, "Well, we don't get involved in things like the layout of the tile. We want to make sure the job is, done properly, and that's kind of where we stop. We don't get into the aesthetic things," which sucks, but I get it. He said, and he looked at this area right here with like that 3-inch jog, and he said, "Off the record, this is terrible." So he takes his pictures, he goes, he comes back. So before he comes back, we don't see them for I don't know, a week, whatever. They come back for 3 days. The first day, they tear up the stuff again. The second day, so we had already submitted our plan. They loved it. Everything was great. They didn't have any feedback on it, negative. They said, "This is the plan we will use." The plan specified this will be the first tile set right here. This will dictate where all the grout lines fall, right? So there's going to be a full 24-inch row of tiles here, and then on the other side of the 2-inch drain, full row of 24 tiles there, and this tile right here is going to be the keystone. It's going to dictate how everything falls, where all the, right? So they've got that. It's been discussed ad nauseum. And so what do? They start here. And they start going chunkity chunk, 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 chunk. And I texted because Nick had said at this point, I'm going to be your point of contact now. The fourth change, or third, that was the third change of the management on this job. So I texted him and I said, hey, you guys aren't following the layout. And I noticed the night before, because they had put these down, that our layout specified 1 inch overhang here. And the only reason I specified 1 inch was because that's what they had previously. So I thought that was a good round number. So we specified it in big bold letters, 1 inch overhang, typical, right? So the night before, they did this starting there again, and I texted Nick. We came out and looked at it, and it looked all right. And I said, that looks like more than 1 inch. I grabbed my tape. It was a solid, consistent 1.5 inches everywhere. Now, I wasn't going to nitpick it. I wasn't going to say anything. It's ridiculous, but it wasn't going to affect anything. I kind of went over the plan, and saw how it was going to affect the layout, and it wasn't that big a deal. I was going to let it go. Was not going to stop the job because it hung over 1.5 inches instead of 1 inch. But when I saw them just starting there and here we go, I said, hey, you guys aren't following the layout. And by the way, that 1 inch overhang, they did them all at 1.5 inches. So no communication back, but the next thing I know on the cameras, they're chipping up all this stuff again, right? So they're pulling it up again. So this whole, there's layers here like an onion. Like if you sliced this pool in half, you'd be able to tell how old it is. So that was day 2 after the first ROC meeting. Day 3, they did what you see here. Now, you'll notice there's no tile over there. Because, again, they started here. They didn't start with full tile for some weird reason. They started running down this way. And they got here. And for some reason, this tile, because that's a full tile, this right here, right? 24, 24. So that's 12 by 24. This is 12 by 24. So here, grout lines line up. Here, it would have followed this same edge, but what they did was they shifted it over 1 inch and they cut this notch out. Why? I don't know. Maybe they thought it would look cool. So now these grout lines are 1 inch off. This whole row is 1 inch off from that. This one is jogged over. This one's jogged over. This is jogged, whatever. If you know, you can see it, but it's not that huge a deal. But why? Why would they do that? And again, big red bold letters, I kid you not, big bold red letters on the drawing. This is the first tile to be set. So, and it's not as if they, calculated and planned ahead, because when I lay a straight edge out, this is like 6 inches off of that corner. So now we're going to have strips in there, which is what we didn't want. Whatever, not the end of the world. Let's just get this job done. So, in the meantime, so that was day 3. 4 weeks more go by. Nobody shows up. We don't get any communication at all. ROC guy shows up for the second meeting. Nick shows up, and I'm here. The ROC looks around, takes pictures, asks a few questions, and says, this doesn't look much different than it did last time I was here. Certainly not 5 weeks worth of different. And he issued them a written directive. Now they have completely ghosted us. No communication other than lies on social media saying that we're really difficult to work with, we're dishonest, we're not looking to have the project finished, we're looking for someone to blame. Here's some of that nice cracking, by the way. A lot of the rest of it's under there. But saying we made all these changes and they've, they're just angels. They've done everything possible to try and make us happy. And he keeps saying how quick they went from, breaking ground to the first and the pre-gunite inspection, which cool. doesn't make a hell of a lot of difference when we've wasted the entire spring and the entire summer. And not only do I not have a pool to enjoy, we can't use our backyard. Like, we haven't been able to use our backyard since we moved into this house, because this was tippy tiles that came up. Then it was all sand for a long time still. I don't know why they didn't take the sand up right away. And now it's this, and it's unsafe, it's unsightly. We can't have kids coming back here, falling, breaking their necks in the pool. You got all these trip hazards. Okay, so that's where we are now. Since the directive was issued, let's see, they gave them 3 weeks. One of those weeks has already passed. So we don't think they're coming back. All of this is supposed to be turf, which means that all of this has to still get excavated down 3 or 4 inches, and then, like AB brought in, compacted, then the turf on top of it. This is supposed to be a concrete paver patio right here, with a 48-inch concrete paver path. Comes out and does an L so that we can easily get our trash cans out to the curb. They knocked down this wall to do the initial digging for the pool. Totally get that. Obviously, it was expected. They did the digging in one day. Pretty cool. This wall was down for 3 months. They would lean pallets and whatever garbage from the current stage of the project to make it look like something. Well, what it looked like was crap, because we've got a brand new house in a brand new neighborhood with an HOA, and 3 months that was pallets and junk, no wall, no gate. So that took a lot of doing to get them just to come out and put that back up. There's been trash and just, tire tracks and all kinds of ugliness. This is like the best it's ever looked. I mean, there was garbage out here before, pallets, drinks. At one point, one of the guys backed his trailer into this, busted the whole thing. There was water shooting everywhere. I had to come from work, and that was a whole thing. So, again, I haven't said anything that's untrue. I certainly have opinions, and I'm entitled to them based on our experience. But I'm very aware of what libel